Alright everyone, this is your good friend Forever Scrub from the Scrubadub dojo, where we clean up our game, here with my Ryu Rookie Guide. So I did a Ryu Beginner Guide, but I actually realized that that was probably for more like silver and gold players, and that a Rookie Guide would need to be a bit different. So I think it's probably worth watching both if you're a full-on rookie beginner, but this is really for people who are just like picking up Street Fighter for the first time. I'm going to talk about Ryu obviously a fair bit, but I'm also going to talk about like stuff that I would have loved to know as a rookie when I got started in this game. Let me talk first about Ryu. He's a really good character to start the game with because he forces you to play fundamentals. Ryu doesn't have any weird, surprising, gimmicky stuff. Everything's like quite obvious what he's trying to do, and he just rewards fundamental play. One nice thing about him though is that his combos are really quite easy, even the sort of advanced stuff like this. Dry brush combos are pretty straightforward. Supers are pretty straightforward. So he's just really easy to get the basics of. You don't need to do complex stuff like you do with Ken, for example. I think Ken is actually really like not the best character to start with, whereas Ryu is great. And the other thing that's nice about Ryu is that he has like a thing that he can do if you're just trying to like kill time and put your opponent into risk-taking mode, which is obviously throw fireballs and uppercut them when they jump over you. And he's also got this nice medium kick poke. And that's pretty much all you're going to be doing at the start of the game. Just keeping some space with this, and otherwise throwing light Hadoukens and using light uppercut and medium uppercut and heavy uppercut to keep your opponent out. That's basically going to be your game plan. You don't want to be throwing these things all the time. You want to be throwing them every now and then. Rarely throwing two in a row, because in the lower levels, for some reason, when people get hit by a fireball, they have a tendency to jump straight afterwards. So usually just throw a fireball, see if they jump, uppercut them if they do. Try to avoid this button, crouch heavy punch. The reason for that is that if someone crosses you up like this, where they jump over your head and kick you in the back of the head, this usually will fail to hit them in the air, and then they'll just cross you up and hit you in the back of the head. Whereas if you do a dragon punch, you will knock them out of the sky. Dragon punches are also air strike invincible. So if someone jumps at you and their foot is like in your face when the dragon punch comes out, you will just ignore that foot and uppercut them anyway. Learning how to dragon punch is really hard. I see Ryu in Platinum who can't anti-air very well, but it's really fundamental to Ryu, and it's just generally something that's going to make you much better at Street Fighter. If you don't have good, reliable anti-airs that are instinctive, you just won't be able to play this game in general. Like, anti-airing is so important, because otherwise people will just keep jumping in on you and you take 3,000 damage at a time, and in the lower grades people just jump all the time, all this kind of stuff too, right? So you wanna get really good at anti-airs, and you want your anti-air to be Dragon Punch. So just go into the training room, go into the simple training settings, and do that anti-air practice. Alright. What else do I have to say here? One other thing about this button is that you generally don't want to get into the habit of walking and crouch blocking. I mean, obviously later on people will be doing this kind of stuff to you all the time, but in the lower grades they don't really do that sort of thing. And if you're crouch blocking, you're not moving, so it's really clear where you are, and the ranges that you want to be in anyway. Just try moving around, right? Later in the game, it's going to be really important to try to bait your opponent to put out buttons like this, and then when they whiff, which means they miss. So let's go. That's a whiff, and that's a whiff, and that's a hit, right? And you can see that those like micro distances make a really big difference to whether something whiffs. And a big part of Ryu's game plan is trying to get people to whiff that button, and then punishing them with this kind of thing. Right? And that's a big part of Ryu. That's a big part of fundamentals in Street Fighter, and Ryu is a real fundamentals character. So get in the habit of walking around like this, not crouch blocking, hoping to do this. And a nice thing about walking around like this is that if you're holding the forward button, because you're walking forward, then it's super easy to do an uppercut from there, because you're already holding the first part of it, right? Whereas if you're going backwards, then you're natural finger is moving forwards because this is the kind of movement you make. And so again, you'll find it easier to drag and punch if you're moving around like that than if you're crouch blocking. Alright, so just moving around, throwing fireballs, uppercutting them when they come through. You want to throw the light fireball mostly because you can see there it's 16 frames on startup. The medium is 14, but its total frames 47. Oh, so it's light. For some reason, yeah. Okay, so if you look at, if you're in this kind of range, which is where Ryu wants to play, look at the bars on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so that blue bit on the end, so it took 15 frames for the fireball to come out, and then 22 frames for me to recover. Whereas that was 27 frames, that was the medium to recover, and so was the heavy. So those extra frames of recovery make it take longer for me to recover from my fireball before I can throw it. So the light just generally recovers much faster, and that means that you can get those uppercuts out. You only really want to be throwing the heavies in occasionally, just to because they're so fast, they'll really kind of disrupt your opponent. And if you're really far away like this, you want to sometimes throw the medium, sometimes throw the heavy, sometimes throw the light, just to throw off your opponent's timing. Alright, but generally speaking with Ryu, as I said, you want to be playing around here, using this button, and using your fireballs, and then when people jump, you just uppercut them. You don't want to be here, because then you're just giving up ground all the time, and you're going to find yourself in the corner, and the corner is a very unpleasant place to be in Street Fighter. So try to hold your ground, use this button, push your opponent back, throw fireballs, uppercut. Alright, there's not much more to Ryu's base game plan than that. Alright, the next thing I've got to talk about is combos, and I think the key lesson here is from Sonic Fox, who's like the greatest Mortal Kombat player of all time, and he says that you should learn first how to punish other people's moves rather than your own combos. So what you want to do is, after you've played a few rounds, you'll notice that there's a couple of moves that people in the lower grades just throw out a lot. So some Ryus will just like tatsu at you, or they'll just be like throwing out random dragon punches that you block. Now these moves are what are called super unsafe. So if I put Kami to block everything, and I tatsu her, see at the bottom there that it says -13. So that means that after that last hit of the tatsu, it took 13 frames before I landed and got recovered from that tatsu enough to put out another button. Right, now Ryu's longest move is this one, right? 12 frames, well his longest move is this. But of his normal buttons, this takes 12 frames, which is a really slow button. So after he tatsus at you, you can throw out this kick and punish him for it. Let's look at another example. So I'm going to go into the recording settings, where I believe I have Kami set to do Spiral Arrow, which you'll see a lot, right? So what we want to do is just put her to do Spiral Arrow and then some jabs, right? Now those jabs will force us to be good with our timing when we do the punishes. So what's the punish going to look like? Let's have a look here. Spiral Arrow. Alright, so we want to practice that. Okay, that is medium punch, crouch, medium tatsu. If you don't like that for some reason, you can also do that. That doesn't get you a knockdown. And you can also do uppercuts if you prefer. The reason why the tatsu is better is because when you finish, you're right on top of her, right? Whereas with the uppercut, you're kind of on top of her if she quick recovers, but if she recovers further away by back rolling, then you won't be on top of her. So generally we want a tatsu. The other nice thing about the tatsu is that it's got corner carry, so it pushes her to the corner, which is where we want to be, so that we can. Okay, so generally speaking, you want to learn combos by punishing stuff, not by practicing the jump in, which is how most people learn combos, right? Don't practice jump ins because jumping in is a bad habit in general. Practice punishing stuff. Now one thing that you are going to want to punish is fireballs, right? And the way you punish fireballs is by jumping in. So you're going to have to practice that combo too. So let's go back to the dummy settings, put it on block after first hit. This way if our time is bad, then Kami will block, right? So now we want to practice that same combo which is punch medium, crouch punch medium, medium tatsu, but we want to just do it with a jump in at the start, maybe a heavy kick. Nice. Does decent damage, 2500, gives us decent corner carry, punish those fireball characters for throwing fireballs. Alright, but we don't want to get in the habit of getting this range from our opponent and then being like, oh, I can't get closer because they might hit me, so I'm going to dash, or I'm going to drive rush, or I'm going to jump, right? Just get comfortable in this range, like learn to use this button, learn to throw your fireballs, learn to use crouch medium, maybe even get a solar plexus punch in there. Get comfortable playing in this kind of range, not freaking out and jumping. Because if you jump from this kind of range against anyone that's half decent, it takes you so long to get over here, they're just going to uppercut you or do some kind of anti-air, right? So you don't want to be jumping in from this kind of distance. It's too predictable, too easy to see once you get better. Alright, so we're learning our punishes. The only real punishes you're going to need to get to silver is that's it. And then there's maybe one more if Cammy does a wake up dragon punch. Oh, there's two. There's the drive impact punish. And there's the uppercut punish. Alright, let's stop messing around and make sure this gets proper. Oops. What's out? Reversals? No. Okay, so we want to change the wake up reversal to just have OD cannon spike. So players in the low grades will be doing this all the time. You knock them down, and now OD cannon spike. Do heavy kick, heavy punch, uppercut. Super easy. 3000 damage. Do it all day. Alright, then the next thing you want to do is learn how to punish the drive impact. What are we going to do here? Solar plexus punch. Oops, I stuffed it up because I'm forever a scrub. Time. It's not over. Solar plexus punch. Crouch medium tatsu, our old friend. And if you want to keep it even simpler, then you can do simple combos, right? Just do heavy punch, dragon punch, no worries. Heavy punch, and that's it. But really you should be trying to get this one down. Good damage. Alright, so we've got our main punishes. We've got heavy kick, heavy punch, dragon punch against missed uppercuts. We've got solar plexus punch, crouch medium tatsu against drive impact, and we've got medium punch, tatsu against all the super punishable moves in the game which people use all the time at low levels. Make sure you get used to reading that bar down the bottom that tells you what your frame advantage is. This move, see the startup is 6 frames, so you need a frame advantage that allows that button to come out. If your opponent is -6 at the end of their move, then you have time to get this out before they have time to block. That's the main thing you want to learn. Alright, okay, so we're learning our punishes, we've got all our basic combos. We don't want to jump in unless someone's throwing fireballs. We just throw our own fireballs and then uppercut people as they come out of the air. We don't want to do random drive impacts in the mid-screen because that's scrubby, that will get punished if you get to higher level play. We don't want to anti-air with drive impact, we want to anti-air with dragon punch. That's just a good habit. Get into your good habits. Alright, a couple of things that are useful to know for the beginners. The first thing is there's a big difference between what are called cancels and what are called links in combos. So this combo is a link combo. I'm going to turn that reversal off. What that means is that I have to wait for this medium punch to recover. Like Ryu's going to do the punch and he's going to come back afterwards. And see, it says 7 frames of advantage there. This button is a 6 frame button, which means that after I've recovered from medium punch, I have 7 frames in which I can throw out another button before my opponent's able to block. So one of those buttons that I can throw out is that crouch medium punch. But if I press crouch medium punch while my medium punch is still out, it's not going to come out. See, nothing happened. You can see on the left hand side there that I'm mashing that crouch medium punch, but nothing's happening because I've got to wait for this medium punch to recover first. Right? And that's quite hard timing to get those links. Links are much harder than cancels. So one example of a cancel is this. So I've pressed crouch medium kick and then medium donkey kick. And what happens in a cancel is that Ryu doesn't recover from that sweep. He sticks his foot out and it never comes back in. He just goes into the donkey kick animation straight away. Cancels, you need to input the next move while you're doing the current move. So if I do something like, right, then I'm doing both a link there and I'm doing a cancel with this move, right? And if you input the cancel without hitting someone, then nothing happens. So you can see on the left-hand side that I'm putting in the donkey kick input, but it's not coming out. This is called buffering. So if I buffer this, then if I were to touch her, then that donkey kick would come out, but otherwise it doesn't. And as you get more advanced in the game, you start to use buffers strategically, but when you're a beginner, you don't need to worry about it. So if you find that you're having difficulty with a combo, it's probably because you're trying to cancel when you should actually be linking, okay? So try to think about getting that timing window right. There's a new function in the training room that allows you to do that. I'm not really sure where it is. It's called something like input delay, game speed. No. Yeah, it's here in the screen display. You can put cancel timing display on to help you think about when you want to press certain buttons. I don't use it myself, but it might be quite helpful if you're a beginner. Alright, so know the difference between links and cancels. Alright, the next thing that I want to talk about is that if you knock your opponent down, usually we want to pressure our opponent like this. So we want to do a meaty. So there I pressed it too early, which meant it didn't hit her as she was standing up because she's still got invincible frames. Yeah, same thing there. There I pressed it at the right time. And so as she became active, as she didn't have invincible frames anymore, my fist was already in her gut. That's called a meaty attack, and often we want to pressure people this way, right? Because then we can get into our combos. Okay, if I do the tatsu there though, of course she's going to punish me, so I just want to stop after that second hit, right? And then I can block. In the low grades, I honestly would not bother pressuring people on wake up. If you knock someone down, you can throw them, right? Just get used to throwing people. It's actually quite hard for beginners to stop you throwing them, so you can just loop people. But a lot of the time you don't want to throw, you don't want to do anything, you just want to walk backwards. You don't want to put any pressure on people on wake up. And why is that? Because one of the first things people start doing when they get this game is this kind of nonsense. Right, they start doing drive impacts, and they start doing uppercuts. So you just want to let them do that, right? The nice thing about the throw is it beats the drive impact, so it's one less thing for you to worry about, right? And with Ryu, because he's got what's called a throw loop, you can actually throw people before they can get a jab out. So throw is just like really powerful. So just use throws. Don't need to worry about anything else, but often you just like pretend that you're going to pressure them and just walk backwards. That's all you need to do. Don't put any pressure on them. When you've been knocked down, just wake up blocking. Okay, you don't need to do anything else. If you do your big uppercuts, then often you're going to get punished. And as you get into the intermediate levels of the game, that's going to be something that the better players will absolutely whoop your ass for. So don't get in the habit of doing this. If you watch the pros do it, they're very selective about when they do it. There's particular situations that you want to do it in. You can worry about that later. So don't do stuff on wake up, just block. And eventually you can do what's called delayed teching, which means that you wait like 2 seconds, not even, you wait like a fraction of a second after you wake up blocking, and then you press throw. And that way, if your opponent throws you, you will tech the throw. If they punch you, you will block the punch. Go to another, just Google on YouTube, delay tech, and there'll be tons of videos explaining how to do it. That's the only thing you need in the low grades, but even that you don't need, just block. Honestly, just block. If someone's throwing you a lot, then tech them, right? And that's all you really need to worry about. Okay. Last couple of things I'd say, don't run away like this. You just don't need to do that with Ryu. Hold your ground in here. Get used to throwing fireballs and using this button and this button and this button to keep people out. Maybe using this button occasionally, but mostly you're just going to be fireballing, uppercutting people, and because you're walking back and forth, you're going to block stuff fairly regularly. So they're going to do a dumb tatsu, and then you're going to hit them with your main punish. And that's where you're going to get a lot of your damage from. You're just going to chip away at your opponent's health bar. That's all you need to do with Ryu. The last thing is, don't mash. So when you're a beginner player, you're going to panic a lot. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what happens. You're going to be scrambling in situations. You're going to be like, oh, do some light buttons, whoa, and you're just going to be spamming the keyboard. Same in your combos. You're going to be going light punch and then just like mashing down crouch to try to get this button out. Try to be intentional with all your inputs, right? I'm not just like randomly doing stuff. I'm like, oh, I want to bait his fireball. So then I'm going to press a light punch and hope that he puts out a fireball, right? I'm going to do this because I think he's in range for me to hit him. I'm not just like randomly pressing buttons in the middle of the screen. And same thing when you get a scramble situation, I'm going to try to confirm my jabs into that uppercut. Okay? Tasting drive impact, get some damage, boom. Alright, that's pretty much all I've got for you as the rookie guide. Let's do a quick summary. You're going to be throwing fireballs, you're going to be doing uppercuts, you're going to be doing medium kick to keep people out, and you're going to be punishing them with medium punch, crouch medium punch, tatsu. When you're on top of them in wake up, you're going to use good old throw. That's all you really need to worry about because it beats drive impact. And sometimes they're going to do an uppercut, and you're going to do kick heavy, punch heavy, dragon punch. And that's really all you need to do to get into silver rank with Ryu, and then you should go and watch my beginner video. I hope this has been useful. If it has, come and join the Scrubadub dojo on Capcom Fighters Network where we try to clean up our game.